All right, so get ready because we're going deep on self-investment today.
Yeah.
We're going to be unpacking 15 different ways that you can level up your life.
Okay.
All based on this motivational podcast episode we found.
Yeah.
15 points might seem like a lot, but don't worry. We're going to zero in on the strategies that are most likely to connect with you, our learner-listener.
Right.
We're talking those aha moments.
Yeah, those light bulb moments.
Yeah, exactly. The ones that can really spark change.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating is how self-investment, when it's done right, it becomes this compounding force.
It does.
Like the effort that you put in today.
Yeah.
It doesn't just go away.
Right.
It builds on itself. It creates momentum.
Totally.
You get bigger wins down the road.
Exactly.
It's like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
It starts small.
Yeah.
But as you keep rolling, it gets bigger and bigger.
For sure.
And speaking of snowballs, this podcast episode we're diving into, it has some really intriguing examples.
Oh, yeah.
Like, did you know Warren Buffett, this legendary investor, he's a voracious reader.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we're talking about a guy who spends hours every day just poring over books and newspapers.
Wow. That's a lot of reading.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just about like staying informed for him.
Right.
Buffett, he sees reading as a way to sharpen his decision-making skills.
Oh, interesting.
He believes that the more you learn, the better equipped you are to spot opportunities that other people might miss.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. It's like he's constantly upgrading his mental software just by absorbing new knowledge.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. He's not just reading for fun.
Right.
He's reading to gain an edge.
Yeah.
It's like a secret weapon for success almost.
Totally. It's like constantly sharpening the knife.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it really highlights a point from our source material that I think is particularly relevant for learners.
Yeah.
This concept of high-income skills.
Oh, yeah. High-income skills. What are those?
These are skills that are in high demand.
Okay.
And can lead to serious earning potential.
Got it.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, the source material mentions copywriting.
Okay.
Which is essentially the art of persuasive writing for marketing and sales.
So like writing ads and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Writing ads, websites, content.
Okay.
All that good stuff.
Okay.
Then there's video editing.
Right.
Which is huge in today's digital world.
Yeah.
With everybody consuming video content online.
I mean, everything's video now.
Seriously. And of course, coding is always a hot skill.
Right.
With the tech industry constantly evolving.
Yeah, it's amazing how accessible learning these skills has become.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need a fancy degree or expensive courses anymore.
Right.
There are so many online resources and communities where you can learn and grow.
That's true.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. And that's another key takeaway from this podcast episode.
Okay.
The environment that you surround yourself with, it has a huge impact on your growth.
Yeah.
It's that whole average of 5 people concept.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
It's like your mindset and habits tend to mirror those of the people that you spend the most time with.
Exactly. So if you're constantly surrounded by negativity or limited thinking, it's going to be tough to break free and reach your full potential.
Makes sense.
But if you make a conscious effort to connect with people who are ambitious, supportive, and constantly learning, that energy, it becomes contagious.
It's like choosing your growth buddies wisely.
Yes.
You want people who are going to challenge you, inspire you, and celebrate your wins alongside you.
Exactly. And that ties in perfectly with another point in our source material.
Okay.
The importance of building a strong morning routine.
The morning routine.
Yeah.
I've heard so much about this.
Yeah.
But I'll admit, I'm not always the best at sticking to one. What's the big deal anyway?
Well, think of it this way.
Okay.
How you start your day.
Yeah.
It sets the tone for everything that follows.
Okay.
If you hit snooze 5 times, scroll through social media for an hour, and then rush out the door feeling stressed, you're already starting from a place of deficit.
Okay, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
So what does a good morning routine look like?
Okay.
Does it involve green smoothies and sunrise yoga?
Not necessarily, although those can be great additions if they work for you.
Right. Okay.
The key is to find a sequence that helps you feel grounded, focused, and energized.
I like that.
The podcast episode we're analyzing, it emphasizes the importance of waking up early enough to have some me time before the day's demands take over.
All right, so no more hitting snooze then.
Well, maybe just once.
Maybe just once.
Yeah.
What else does it suggest?
Hydration is key.
Okay.
So starting your day with a big glass of water is a good move.
All right.
Then some form of movement.
Okay.
Even if it's just a quick stretch or a walk around the block, can help get your blood flowing.
Yeah.
Clear your mind.
Okay.
And many successful people swear by the power of writing down their goals first thing in the morning.
Interesting.
To keep them top of mind.
So you're priming yourself for the day.
Exactly.
Okay, that actually sounds pretty doable.
Mm-hmm.
I could see myself incorporating some of these things into my own routine.
Absolutely. It's all about finding what works for you and then being consistent.
Right.
Remember, small changes done consistently can lead to big results.
So true. Okay, speaking of consistency, let's talk about point number 5, mastering time management.
Okay.
This one feels especially relevant in today's world.
Definitely.
Where we're constantly bombarded with distractions, demands on our time.
Absolutely. And the source material highlights a principle that you might have heard of.
Okay.
The 80-20 rule.
Oh, yeah.
Also known as the Pareto principle.
Yeah.
It essentially states that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts.
Wait, so I could be getting 80% of my work done?
Potentially.
In 20% of the time?
That's the idea.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
But seriously, how does that work in practice?
Okay, it's about identifying those high-value tasks that have the biggest impact on your goals.
Right.
And then ruthlessly prioritizing them.
Got it.
It means learning to say no to things that drain your time and energy without moving the needle.
Okay, so it's about being strategic with your time and energy.
Yes.
Not just working harder.
Right.
But working smarter.
Exactly. The podcast episode suggests a few practical tactics for implementing the 80-20 rule.
Okay.
One is to plan your day in advance.
Yeah.
Blocking out time for those high-impact tasks when you're most focused and alert.
Makes sense.
Another is to minimize distractions.
Okay.
Like turning off notifications.
Right.
Or using website blockers to prevent yourself from getting sucked into social media black holes.
That last one is definitely a challenge for me. I can easily lose hours scrolling through Instagram without even realizing it.
It's a common struggle in today's digital world.
Yeah.
But the good news is that there are tools and techniques that you can use to regain control of your time and focus.
I like that.
Remember, time is your most valuable asset. It's the one thing that you can never get back.
So true.
Yeah.
All right, I'm definitely taking notes on this one.
Good.
I think we need to take a break here and come back for more.
Sounds good. We've covered a lot of ground already.
Yeah, we have.
And I'm sure our learner listener is already buzzing with ideas.
Oh, I bet. Okay, we are back and ready for more self-investment strategies.
Yeah, let's jump right in.
Awesome. Where did we leave off?
Well, we were just talking about the 80-20 rule and the importance of time management.
Right. It's all about focusing on those high-impact tasks and being ruthless with our time.
For sure.
So what's next?
Well, point number 6 actually circles back to something we touched on earlier.
Okay.
The company we keep.
The average of 5 people thing.
Exactly. It's easy to underestimate the influence our social circle has on us.
Yeah, for sure.
But the truth is, the people we surround ourselves with, they can either elevate us or hold us back.
Right. It's not just about ditching the toxic friends.
Right.
It's also about being proactive, about finding connections that inspire us.
Absolutely.
Support our growth.
Yeah, this podcast episode encourages listeners to be proactive about building a network of mentors, peers, collaborators who share their values and aspirations.
That's cool.
It even suggests joining mastermind groups.
Oh, wow.
Or attending industry events as ways to connect with like-minded individuals.
It's like building a support system for your dreams.
It is.
We need people who believe in you, challenge you, and help you stay accountable.
And speaking of believing in yourself, that brings us to point number 7.
Okay.
Developing a growth mindset.
Ah, yes, the growth mindset.
Have you heard of that?
I've heard this term thrown around a lot, but I'm not sure I fully grasp it. Can you break it down for us?
Sure. Essentially, a growth mindset is the belief that your abilities and your intelligence aren't fixed.
Okay.
They can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. Okay. It's the opposite of a fixed mindset.
Yeah.
Where you believe you're either born with certain talents or you're not.
You got it or you don't.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So someone with a growth mindset would see challenges as opportunities to learn and grow rather than as threats to their ego.
Okay, so instead of saying I'm bad at math, a person with a growth mindset would say I'm not good at math yet.
Exactly.
But I'm working on it.
Yeah, it's a subtle shift in language, but it makes a huge difference in how you approach challenges and setbacks.
Right, I like that.
And the good news is a growth mindset is something you can cultivate.
Oh, okay.
It's not something you're born with or not.
Okay, so you can work on that.
Absolutely. The podcast episode suggests a few practical strategies for developing a growth mindset.
Okay, like
paying attention to your self-talk.
That's a good one.
Reframing negative thoughts into more positive and empowering ones.
So instead of beating myself up for making a mistake, I should focus on what I can learn from it and how I can do better next time.
Exactly. It's all about seeing setbacks as learning opportunities rather than as personal failures.
This is so insightful.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next on our list of self-investment strategies?
Point number 8 is all about starting a side hustle.
Side hustle. Now, that's something I can get behind.
Yeah.
I think everyone should have at least one side hustle going.
It's definitely become a popular topic in recent years.
For sure.
And for good reason, a side hustle can be a great way to generate extra income.
Okay.
Explore your passions, develop new skills.
Yeah.
And potentially even create a pathway to full-time entrepreneurship.
It's like having a plan B.
Right.
But a really exciting plan B.
That you're actually passionate about.
Exactly.
And the beauty of a side hustle is you can start small and scale up as you gain experience and momentum.
I like that.
The podcast episode suggests finding something you genuinely enjoy doing.
Right.
Even if it seems quirky or niche.
So if I'm obsessed with knitting cat sweaters,
I
could potentially turn that into a side hustle.
Why not? There's a market for everything these days.
Okay, cool.
The key is to find your niche, develop your skills, and then figure out how to connect with your target audience.
I like it.
The podcast episode even mentions some popular online platforms like Etsy and Fiverr.
Oh, yeah.
Where you can start offering your products or services.
Wow, the possibilities are endless.
It really is.
It's exciting to think about all the different ways you could create value and generate income through a side hustle.
And speaking of creating value, point number 9 focuses on improving your communication skills.
Okay, communication skills. I think we all know how important those are.
For sure.
But what specifically does the podcast episode recommend?
Well, it goes beyond just speaking clearly and confidently. It emphasizes the importance of active listening.
Right.
Which is all about truly understanding the other person's perspective before responding.
Because it's not just about getting your point across.
Right.
It's about really connecting with the person you're communicating with.
Exactly. And that requires empathy, attention, and the ability to ask thoughtful questions.
Okay.
The podcast episode also suggests paying attention to your body language, as nonverbal cues can speak volumes.
So even if I'm saying all the right words, if I'm slouching and avoiding eye contact, my message might not be received the way I intended.
That's right. Nonverbal communication plays a huge role in how we're perceived and how our message is interpreted.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be paying more attention to my body language from now on.
And if you're looking for ways to practice and improve your communication skills, the podcast episodes suggest joining a group like Toastmasters, which provides a safe and supportive environment for public speaking.
That's a great idea. I've heard good things about Toastmasters.
Yeah.
It's like a gym for your communication muscles.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more confident and effective you'll become.
All right, so we've covered side hustles and communication skills.
Yeah.
What's next on our self-investment journey?
Point number 10 takes a turn inward.
Okay.
Focusing on prioritizing mental health.
Okay, mental health. This is something I'm hearing more and more about these days.
Yeah.
And for good reason. It's so important to take care of our mental well-being.
Absolutely.
Just like we take care of our physical health.
And yet it's often the first thing to get neglected when we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed.
Yeah, true.
The podcast episode emphasizes the importance of finding healthy coping mechanisms for stress.
Okay.
Such as mindfulness practices, meditation, spending time in nature.
Yeah.
Or journaling.
Right, because we all need those outlets.
We do.
To de-stress and recharge.
Yeah. It's not about being happy all the time.
Right.
It's about having healthy ways to deal with the inevitable ups and downs of life.
Exactly. And the podcast episode also encourages listeners to seek professional help if they're struggling.
Yeah.
There's no shame in talking to a therapist or counselor.
Absolutely not.
It can be incredibly beneficial.
It can.
For gaining perspective and developing strategies for managing mental health challenges.
And speaking of navigating,
yes,
point number 11 encourages us to step outside our comfort zones.
Okay.
And explore new cultures through travel.
Travel. That's definitely on my self-investment wish list.
Yeah.
There's something so transformative about experiencing different parts of the world.
Absolutely.
Immersing yourself in new cultures.
It broadens your perspective. It challenges your assumptions. It exposes you to new ways of thinking and being.
I love that.
Even if you can't afford to travel far.
Yeah.
The podcast episode encourages listeners to explore their own city or region with fresh eyes.
Oh, that's cool.
Trying new restaurants, visiting museums, attending cultural events.
I love that it's like being a tourist in your own backyard.
Exactly. And you never know what hidden gems you might discover.
Exactly. Okay, I'm feeling inspired to book a trip.
Good.
What's next on our list?
Point number 12 is all about building financial literacy.
Financial literacy. This one feels particularly relevant for our learner listener.
Definitely.
It's all about acquiring knowledge and skills that can empower them.
Absolutely. Financial literacy is essential for making informed decisions about your money and building a secure future.
For sure.
The podcast episode recommends diving into personal finance books.
Okay.
Learning about budgeting, investing, and managing debt.
It's like, you don't need to be a financial expert.
Right.
But you do need to understand the basics of how money works.
Yeah.
So you can make smart choices that align with your goals.
And one of the key concepts the podcast episode highlights is the power of compound interest.
Compound interest. I've heard that's like the eighth wonder of the world or something.
It's pretty powerful.
But seriously, can you explain it for those of us who aren't financial wizards?
Sure, it's actually pretty simple.
Okay.
Compound interest is basically interest earned on interest.
Okay.
So when you invest your money and it earns interest, that interest is added to your principal, and then the next time interest is calculated, it's calculated on the larger amount.
Okay.
Over time, this can create a snowball effect, where your money grows exponentially.
Wow, that sounds pretty amazing.
It is.
So the earlier you start investing, the more time your money has to compound and grow.
Exactly. Even if you start with small amounts,
yeah,
the magic of compound interest can really work in your favor over the long term.
Okay, I'm definitely motivated to start investing now.
Good.
What's next on our list of self-investment strategies?
Point number 13 emphasizes the importance of developing discipline and self-control.
Discipline. That's one I struggle with sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
It's so much easier to hit snooze and scroll through social media
It is.
than it is to get up early and go for a run.
It's definitely a challenge for many of us.
Yeah.
But the truth is, discipline is like a muscle.
Okay.
The more you exercise it,
Yeah.
the stronger it gets.
Okay, I like that.
And the podcast episode offers some helpful tips for building discipline.
Like, what? Give me some strategies.
One is to start with small, achievable goals.
Okay.
Don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight.
Right.
Instead, focus on building one small habit at a time.
Okay.
The podcast episode mentions the 2-minute rule
Okay.
as a helpful technique for overcoming procrastination.
The 2-minute rule. What's that?
If a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete,
Yeah.
do it immediately.
Okay.
It's a way to build momentum
Got it.
and avoid getting bogged down by small tasks.
Okay. That actually sounds pretty doable.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely see myself using that. What else does it recommend?
Another strategy is to find an accountability partner. Okay.
Someone who will support you in your goals and help you stay on track.
It's like having a workout buddy,
Yeah.
but for your discipline goals.
Right.
Someone to cheer you on and hold you accountable.
Exactly. And remember, consistency is key.
Right.
It's not about being perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's about showing up for yourself day after day,
Yeah.
even when you don't feel like it.
Okay, I'm ready to start building my discipline muscles.
Yeah.
What's next on our self-investment agenda?
Point number 14 might seem obvious,
Okay.
but it's often overlooked.
Okay.
It's improving your sleep.
Sleep. Yes, please. I think we all know we need to get enough sleep.
We do.
But it's so easy to sacrifice sleep for work, social media, or Netflix.
It's true, but the truth is, quality sleep is crucial for both physical and mental well-being. It impacts everything,
Yeah.
from our mood and energy levels
For sure.
to our cognitive function and immune system.
Okay, so I know I need to prioritize sleep, but how much sleep is enough?
The podcast episode recommends aiming for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night.
That's a lot of sleep.
It is.
Okay.
And it emphasizes the importance of establishing a consistent sleep schedule,
Yeah.
even on weekends,
Oh man, even on weekends.
to regulate your body's natural sleep-wake cycle.
Okay, because consistency is key for so many things.
It is.
Sleep included.
What else does it suggest?
Yeah, what else?
It also recommends creating a relaxing bedtime routine
Okay.
to signal to your body that it's time to wind down.
Okay.
This could involve taking a warm bath, reading a book,
Right.
or listening to calming music.
And no screens before bed, right?
Exactly. The blue light emitted from screens can interfere with melatonin production.
Right.
Which is the hormone that helps regulate sleep.
Okay. I'm definitely guilty of scrolling through social media in bed.
Yeah.
I have to work on breaking that habit.
It's a small change that can make a big difference in your sleep quality.
Okay, so we've covered 14 points so far.
We have.
What's the final point in this self-investment deep dive?
Point number 15 might seem a bit cheesy, but it's actually the foundation for all other forms of self-investment.
Okay.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. Okay, that does sound a bit cheesy.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in your own potential, why bother putting in the effort to improve?
Exactly. Self-belief is essential for setting ambitious goals.
Yeah.
Overcoming obstacles and ultimately achieving your dreams.
It's like, if you don't believe in yourself, who will?
Exactly. And the podcast episode offers some practical advice for boosting your self-belief.
Okay, like what?
One strategy is to focus on your past successes.
Okay.
No matter how small they may seem.
Right, because it's easy to get caught up in our failures and forget about all the times we've actually succeeded.
Another strategy is to surround yourself with positive and supportive people who believe in you and encourage your growth.
It's like having a personal cheerleading squad to remind you of your awesomeness.
Exactly. And finally, it's important to silence that inner critic.
Okay.
That tells you you're not good enough or that you'll never succeed.
The inner critic is a tough one to deal with.
It is.
But I guess it's all about challenging those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Replacing them with more positive and empowering ones.
Precisely, it's about choosing to focus on your strengths and your potential, rather than dwelling on your weaknesses and your fears.
Okay, I'm feeling pumped up and ready to conquer the world.
Good.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered so far.
That's a great idea. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Oh,
and I'm sure our learner listener is already brimming with new insights and ideas.
Absolutely. From reading every day to developing a growth mindset, from starting a side hustle to prioritizing mental health, we've explored a wide range of strategies for leveling up your life.
It's important to remember that self-investment isn't a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
What works for one person may not work for another.
Right. It's all about finding what resonates with you.
Yeah.
What aligns with your values and goals.
And it's about being patient and persistent.
For sure.
Self-improvement is a journey, not a destination.
I like that.
There will be ups and downs, setbacks and breakthroughs.
Right.
But the most important thing is to keep moving forward one step at a time.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive,
okay,
I want to challenge our learner listener to think about these 15 strategies we've discussed.
Yeah.
What's one small step you can take today to start investing in yourself?
Yeah.
It could be as simple as picking up a book.
Yeah.
Researching a new skill, or setting aside 15 minutes for meditation.
Yeah.
Every journey begins with a single step.
Yeah.
We're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive on self-investment.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey exploring all these different strategies.
I know, right? I'm feeling pretty pumped up about leveling up my life.
That's great to hear. And, you know, it's amazing how much there is to learn about maximizing our own potential.
Right. It's like we're constantly uncovering new layers of ourselves.
Exactly. And the cool thing is that self-investment isn't about reaching some sort of finish line.
It's not a one-time thing.
It's an ongoing process, a commitment to continuous growth and evolution.
Yeah, it's like that quote, life is a journey, not a destination.
That's a good one.
Right, we're always learning, growing, adapting. That's what makes it so exciting.
And you know, the beauty of self-investment is that even small, consistent efforts can create a ripple effect over time.
Right, those little things add up.
They really do. It's just like compound interest.
Oh, yeah.
Those little investments in yourself, they can add up to something truly remarkable down the road.
It's like planting seeds in a garden.
Yeah, I like that.
You might not see the results immediately, but with consistent nurturing and care, those seeds will eventually blossom into something beautiful.
Beautiful analogy, and it really highlights the importance of patience and persistence in the self-investment journey.
Right. It's not always easy.
There will be times when you feel motivated and inspired.
Yeah.
And there will be times when you feel discouraged or overwhelmed.
You've got to keep going.
You do. It's like anything worthwhile in life. It takes effort, dedication, a willingness to keep going even when things get tough.
So true. And I think that's why it's so important to find those strategies that really resonate with you. The ones that feel aligned with your values and your goals.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to self-investment.
Right. You got to find what works for you.
You do. It's about finding what works for you, what lights you up, what makes you feel excited about becoming the best version of yourself.
I love that. And that brings us to a final thought-provoking question for you to consider as we wrap up this episode.
Okay.
Imagine if you could design the perfect day for self-investment. What would it look like?
That's a great question. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, for me, it would definitely involve waking up early.
Okay.
But not in a rushed or stressful way.
Right.
I'd start with maybe a gentle yoga session or walk in nature just to get my body moving and my mind clear.
That sounds lovely. What about the rest of the day?
I'd definitely carve out some time for reading. Maybe a biography of someone I admire or a book on a topic I'm curious about.
Yeah, those sound like great choices.
And, I'd love to spend an hour or two working on a creative project.
Cool.
Something that allows me to, express myself.
Right.
Explore new ideas.
It sounds like you've really thought this through.
I have. It's fun to think about.
It is, and that's the beauty of this exercise.
Yeah.
It encourages you to envision the life you want to create, a life that prioritizes growth, learning, and well-being.
And then it's about taking those little steps day by day.
Yeah.
To make that vision a reality.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about achieving some idealized version of perfection.
Right.
It's about making conscious choices that align with your values and support your growth.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like for you.
And that's a journey worth taking.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into self-investment.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights.
Yeah.
Feel inspired to level up your life?
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep learning.
Keep growing.
Keep believing in yourself.
And we'll see you on the next deep dive.